Well, hey, G Holla, G dot Holla.
Girl, GeHolla. Charlamagne the God here, man. Salute to you. Okay.
Shout out to Ge Holla, reaching 1 million listeners on his podcast.
Hey, a shout out to Ge Holla.
All y'all said entertainer. Shout out my guy Ge Holla on my Celebrity Life podcast.
It's your girl Cynthia Bailey from The Real Housewives of Atlanta, and I'm sending a shout out to Ge Holla.
Shout out to Ge Holla and all.
A red man in the fucking building, bitch. That's right. Get it right. And shouts out to that boy Ge Holla. Ge Holla, what you know about it, nigga?
Holla.
See my brother Tariq Nasheed calling in and put you back on hold for one moment. Brother Larry, I appreciate you. All right, I believe we have Tariq Nasheed on the line. We're about to let him on just one moment. Hello to you once again. I go by the name of GeHolla. It's not Gula, it's not GeHolla, it's not GeHolla, but GeHolla. You can find this radio interview on GeHolla.com as well as fmgmedia.net and throughout all of social media. We'd like to welcome our great esteemed brother, Mr. Tariq Nasheed, the Honorable Tariq Nasheed. How you doing this afternoon, brother?
Hey, how y'all doing, family? What's going on?
Everything's good. Thank you for calling me in, man. I first and foremost want to tell you before we begin, I appreciate you. I learned a lot from you, watching your videos, reading your books, watching the movies. You are absolutely dope. I'm glad that, and I live in this conscious state of time, in this 3D reality where you're here because you have given us so much good knowledge, good game, good wisdom, good understanding. I don't care what nobody say, nothing about you. I appreciate you, and I'm thankful for your existence, for being here.
Much respect, man. I really appreciate that, brother.
I do. And I got some beautiful feminine energy I want to introduce onto the phone today. She goes by the name of K-Love.
Here radio. As I was mentioning right before you got on the line, today actually on my show, we actually had what we call the State of the Union address for the black man. And I just got some very powerful black men to come in and discuss basically what we call hashtag Black Men Vent. Just talking about different things that, we don't necessarily talk about. So it's definitely a pleasure to have you on the line to be able to continue in that conversation on today.
Absolutely. It's my pleasure to be here. My pleasure to meet you as well.
Cool. K-Love, I'm going to let you go ahead and start off since you were the first panelist on here. Then we're going to get my brother Larry on next. If you would like to start with your first round of questions, that's cool with me.
Of course. So just sticking, like I said, with what we're discussing, the main thing I want to know, I got to pick your brain behind Hidden Colors, and not even just Hidden Colors, because I know you just recently released 1804.
Yes.
Am I not
that's
mistaken?
The documentary that's out. Yes, that's the one that's out.
Yes. So what?
Oh, well, yes.
So give us the history behind this. What sparked these up for you?
Yeah, I wanted to do the documentary starting with Hidden Colors because we didn't have any documentary films that really talked about our history outside of slavery and civil rights. Anytime they talk about black history, we hear about we were enslaved, we had a civil rights movement, Obama was elected, and racism disappeared. So we always get this this half story about our history. We don't go into the depths of it, and that's what I wanted to do with the Hidden Colors series. And fortunately, it became very successful. Then that led me to doing the 1804 documentary, which is the history of Haiti, which is a very, very interesting story that's been hidden for a long time. They don't like to talk about the mightiest military strategies used in warfare where a slave population rose up and overthrew their oppressors. That's a brilliant story, and it has never happened in history. So I wanted to talk about the Haitian Revolution and let people know what really happened behind that. And that movie took off. It did number one on Amazon. So I'm glad there's a new awakening to a lot of this knowledge that's been around for a minute. A lot of this stuff has been around, but we just haven't had the spotlight put on it.
Absolutely, and that's so funny that you're mentioning the Haitian Revolution, because that definitely is and has been one of the largest revolts. A lot of people do tend to forget about it completely, and the fact that it was our people of color, that did that revolt just makes me to go back to say, well, what's up? What we doing now?
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying? So that's another thing that I wanted to get from you, and that what do you feel can be done now to combat what's going on in our society?
What we have to do is get a code, sister. We don't, as black people, as African people, we lack a code of conduct. We think we need to fix everything by quote-unquote unifying, by basically unifying, getting in a room with other people who look like us. And that's not the answer. Once you get in a room and unify, then what are you going to do? You have to have a code. See, people in the dominant white society and people in the dominant Asian society, the reason why they win is because they know how to get on the same page no matter what room they're in. They can be on both sides of the country, but they'll all have the same mentality in order to empower their community. We, on the other hand, we will have our petty differences dominate the discourse, and we can't get anything done because we're not on code. So that's the most important thing for us to do, learn how to get a code of conduct that will empower black people as a whole, as opposed to us just jumping on the side of the dominant society to get little benefits for us personally, because that's the thing we mess up at. We try to do things where we'll get a couple of crumbs off the table and we'll throw everybody else under the bus who's black, and that throws us all under the bus.
Not realizing it. I love that you mentioned that, because that right there is most impactful, is that we have to, and it's funny because we spoke with David Banner on last week, and one of the things that he was mentioning is that in order to break the psychological aspect of it, we have to get back to loving ourselves in general.
Because we've been taught that, blackness is bad. This is why we run from blackness. We will do anything to kind of not even claim blackness at this point. That's why I don't like the term people of color. I don't like the term minority, because all of these terms water down blackness, because we know that blackness is offensive to the dominant society, and with the dominant society, we're always looking for ways to not ruffle their feathers. We're always looking for ways to not rock the boat with them. And we have to get off that mentality, because no matter what we do is going to ruffle their feathers. Just our very existence is ruffling their feathers. You don't have to do anything. So you might as well stand up for yourself. You might as well claim who you are. You might as well empower yourself as a group. And that's how we're going to fight systematic white supremacy. All of us getting on a code and standing up against it all together, and not doing symbolic things like marching, praying, singing, and being intersectional with all these other groups who don't give a damn about us.